Welcome back. Nomination papers and signatures are due tomorrow ahead of the November election.
And it is a sprint in these final hours for some of the candidates trying to get on the ballot, including in Wisconsin's 1st congressional district, where a number of Democrats are looking to take on Republican Congressman Bryan Steil, a race he won by 10 points in 2024. One of those candidates is Mitchell Berman, who's announced this past week his campaign has raised more than $500,000 to date. He joins us now. Mitchell, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's first start just with the signature deadline. That's Monday, 5 p.m. You'll have enough to make the ballot?
We'll have more than enough. I'll tell you, conversations that we've been having with folks out in the district, when we get to talking about how Bryan Steil voted for the big ugly bill, and that made cuts to Medicaid, it slashed food assistance for our seniors and for kids in schools. Folks were very quick to sign our nomination papers.
You've made the pitch and are making the pitch that you are the Democrat to take on Bryan Steil. Why do you think that is?
So, look, I think the thing is that Washington right now is broken. I mean, we have a lot of politicians in Washington, and I think they've forgotten about the people back home. They don't really reflect the people who are here in our district. And so I think if you're going to be able to legislate from a place of understanding and a place of empathy, you have to, have gotten a little dirt under your nails. And I think too many politicians in Washington are too far removed from the people back home they're meant to represent.
You announced raising $500,000. I'm sure, as you know, the last report, Bryan Steil had $4 million plus in the bank.
Yeah.
Are you going to have the funds to compete with that?
Yeah. So if there's one thing that I've learned in this campaign, it's that it's a snowball. And so, we got that push going down the hill. We have started to create momentum. We're seeing the fruits of our labor. And look, I'm not a politician. I didn't start with a big Rolodex of millionaires that I could just call up and have my campaign coffers full. We've done this through phone calls and handshakes and small house parties. And, we've had over 10,000 people contribute to our campaign to get to this point. And so momentum is building, excitement is building, and I'm confident that we're going to have the resources that we need to be able to go toe-to-toe with Bryan Steil.
The DCCC has listed the 1st as one of its target districts. Have you received any assurances broadly on how much National Democrats are going to pour into this specific race?
Yeah. So again, I think the thing is that people in our district are looking for someone who is going to stand up and fight for the values that people in southeastern Wisconsin care about. And so, that looks like making sure that we have safe communities to raise our kids. Young people can afford to buy homes, that seniors don't have to choose whether or not they're going to pay for medication or they're going to pay for rent. And making that case to them is building a coalition of people behind us that is really starting to gain some teeth. And I think that's grabbing national attention. So I'm pretty confident as well that we're going to have the support of national organizations going into November.
Will you, though, or will Democrats broadly need the assistance of the DCCC to compete in this district?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think anyone's going to turn it down. But I'll be honest. I think the thing is that we know that these issues aren't left or right issues. These are top and bottom issues. And there's a lot more people on the bottom than there are on the top. And if there's one thing that brings people together that I are familiar with working in healthcare, it's trauma unifies people. And the working class and middle class right now are being traumatized by these policies that Bryan Steil is supporting.
You mentioned that you're not a politician, you're a nurse, a political newcomer. Why do you think that you're ready to serve in Congress?
So, I think the thing is Congress, like I said, it's not reflective of the people who are here in our district. We are in a system right now that is broken, and people recognize that, and that system was created by politicians. So I think the only way that we're going to fix it is to bring someone in from the outside. And to be honest with you, I think that's one of our strengths. I think we need more nurses, more teachers, more people who have actually experienced some of the things that people at home are dealing with. That way they can legislate from a place of empathy and understanding.
Mitchell Berman, a Democratic candidate for the 1st Congressional District. Mitchell, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Coming up, the new book and its author, Martha Raddatz, next.